had shared was that you got to catch a ride on someone's Uber that is like company paid because they're an employee. And I think often that's like something that I I think that not enough DevRel people do. I don't see it as often. I try to do it to the extent of even sharing a hotel. I'm not like paid for my employer now, so now I'm like, hey, roomie, you want to go halvesies?
Oh
But
yeah.
when I was paid by my employer, right? Like, why not be like, I'm going to get a 5-person Uber or whatever is still company approved, and then say, get in the Uber, because that's like the best way to build dev relationships, right? Is like
Mm.
truly offer them something. It's small, but you have that chance in the car to like talk everything up. Like, what are you building? What are you doing? Missed opportunity there.
Oh yeah. Lots of great conversations.
I
I was
love
gonna say,
that.
yeah, car conversations after, like, when everyone's winding down or on your way to dinner after the conference or whatever. That's a great
Yes.
idea.
Yeah, especially the social ones. I mean, I'm not one to condone like the late night partying, but I will say I think the later into the evening, probably the more successful that conversation is going to be in terms of like bonding,
Hmm.
Oh
They're going to
yeah.
remember you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. I'm going to open. There's some other folks I think that are coming too, but I'm so great at marketing my own stuff that I just send it out at the last minute. Oh, well, that's okay, right?
Of
Clients
course, you're
first.
doing it. That's what matters, right?
I know, that's so true. And so pumped about the product that we are doing today.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
think you shared this on X recently, or did
I
I see it
did.
elsewhere?
When they went
Yeah,
live.
yeah,
Yeah. Yep.
yes. And I was like, this is exciting.
Yes. So like it's funny too because I did a developer experience audit for them. So they're actually a past client of mine that they brought me in and did developer experience work and kind of advising around sort of their support strategies and that kind of stuff. And so when I first started talking to them, I didn't quite and couldn't put a grasp on what their product could do. And actually both Chris and I sort of got through docs and some other stuff and we're like, okay, this feels cool, but we still just don't know how we would use that. And it ended up turning into the most absolute amazing bit of feedback that led to them creating the playground. And I will tell you what, we get to the playground, y'all are going to love it. It like blows my mind. They just knocked it out of the park. So I thought it'd be fun for us to just go through sort of this new version in comparison for Chris and I. We've seen the old version and it's just so amazing in comparison, but I think there's still always more improvement, right, that we can drive. And the tool's just super cool. So they deserve the kind of awareness and
Mm.
diving in. So homepage, should we dive in like usual? I'm gonna actually try to keep us on a little bit of an agenda and not necessarily spend tons of time in one spot. But I think nonetheless, like let's let the passion and juices flow as they come, really.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right.
they have a strong hero right there. Tells you exactly what it's supposed to do.
I
That's
agree.
what made me excited.
Right. I know that's how I was getting excited about it too.
Hmm.
When we hear painless data extraction and web automation, like what's kind of like popping for us? What are we thinking about? What's the potential maybe?
Uh, I think I initially think about, when you go to extract data from somewhere, you got to set up an API key. You got to set up all the API fetches. You got to have maybe even a backend to be able to run all this request, and then a way to format the output of the request. Um, but I don't want to get further. I want Ryan to give his input there because I've seen some of this. So I'm like, go
Yeah,
for it,
we've got to
Ryan.
play with it quite a
Yeah.
bit.
Well, I don't know. One of the things that caught me too on this, and I don't know if it was maybe in your post, but it's also further down on the page, was the mention of data scraping, which I've
Hmm.
heard is not very scalable. So if this is a method of doing it so that it's more scalable. For me, it's like, okay, we could have used this in a cohort I was actually in with Dallas software developers, right? Like we wanted to scrape a ton of data, but it was just like, this isn't going to happen in this short amount of time.
Hmm.
We definitely could have used a tool like this, whether it's for proof of concept or you're actually using production. That caught my eye as well. Now, obviously, you need an API key to work with this, but again, if it takes the pain out of it, I'm here for it.
Yeah. I mean, like to speak to what Chris said, right? Chris is thinking about like a multi API integration, multiple pieces that you have to connect together where it's like, okay, could you replace 90% of that with just AgentQL? And then I think there's even, sorry, I said even twice. There's then yet more value that's going to come out of that, right? You get it set up. We'll get to it. Gosh, I'm like, so this is so hard when I've already seen the product and I know stuff, like so hard. Because I want to be like, oh, we'll just go look at X. And I'm like, nope, nope. This is like a first time view experience. We're just going to go. So for me, I feel like, kind of my summary, and of course I do know the product a bit more, so that helps. But when I think about painless data extraction, right, similar to Chris, I'm like, oh, there's like constantly, like, I love data and I love to use the data to make decisions on how I serve clients and whatever I do in DevRel. And so like data extraction, I'm like, yes, can this be integrated in my stack? Can I start using this for market research? Can I get rid of some subscriptions that I'm currently paying for that are giving me market research I can go find myself? Like what can I do with the data? Because the and web automation is like, can I go out to a client website, have a standardized audit of steps, right, that I want to do? Do they have a link to GitHub? Do they have a playground? Do they have docs? Does it have a sandbox? Whatever, right? It's all those are just random examples, but can I set something up through AI that says, hey, go to this website, run this sort of audit, right? And then send me a summary. And of course, I'm going to still do my due diligence, but I've noticed throughout my work that there's a lot of times I can send AI out or have it sort of brainstorm or ideate something for me. And then I'm like, oh, hey, I didn't think about that. But then my expertise is like this extra layer that just takes that and makes it just this like boom-tastic like end result. So like, why not, right? Try to do even more automation with that. So if you can't tell, I'm super jacked about diving into like building something like that, because I think that's going to be a game changer for my business. What about web automation for like you all, Nathan? I mean, I know you're kind of always sort of like on the road and moving around. So no, if you can't jump in, A-okay. But, like web automation, what would you all do if you could go through and like figure out this or kind of think about that sentiment, use cases? What'd we build?
I don't have anything that comes immediately to mind as to where I would use this in my day to day yet, but that's also, I think, because I've only read like this first half of the page. I feel like if we scroll down, I might have a better idea of some examples, what they're using it for, and then when I might be able to use it as well.
You make a good point. I think that, we got all kind of excited about, hey, this is what we've kind of seen that it can do, and maybe jumping ahead. So I love the point that you just made there. If we actually scroll down just a smidgen, we can see 3 examples that they are now displaying, which again, I think is like so important, because I told them the sentiment that like we in our developer brains just didn't have ideas to build. And I feel so much conviction around that. You absolutely have to have your docs or your messaging or that second that you're getting with a developer. It has to get them into that, what can I build? And I think that they did a fantastic job in sharing these examples of, let me go scrape YouTube for comments that you can aggregate. I assume run like a sentiment analysis on if you wanted to take that further.
Or you could even use it, a lot of YouTubers will say, hey, comment down below with this phrase and it'll enter you into a giveaway. So you could just build one of those with that. That's so quick and easy, it looks like.
Dude.
Actually automate the nightmare giveaway thing. Yeah. Sorry, Chris.
Brilliant. I was just going to comment on that. That's brilliant.
That is actually brilliant.
My first thought right there.
I was thinking about how, I don't know if this is even possible with this, but I was thinking about the Twitter API sucks to work with. What if, and what the amount of code that I need to put in just to be able to display my total tweet count on my portfolio is insane. So what if I could use this?
Oh, totally.
Right. And then create, and then with this, create an open source NPM package that people can plug into their React apps or whatever to be able to pull that data for them.
Oh my gosh, there's a whole nother level of this where you take this to like, yes, and the people in my community, yes, and the people in my user base, yes, and I mean, there's just so much with that.
How do you think that would work though with a gated API like Twitter right now? You have to pay for it, right?
Well, someone would have to be logged in. So somehow you'd have to be able to integrate this with a logged in, like, authenticate through, I assume, right, as you're building it out, like some authentication step with but that'd be Twitter account auth. That wouldn't be API, right? Because it's scraping the page. So it's just an auth.
Yeah, but you could, anyone can go to my Twitter profile and see the total posts that I have. And
That's true, actually. You could scrape for certain tweets, I bet, too. Like, I wonder if you could be like, because there's one point I wanted to just clean out my Twitter. And I mean, I constantly think about it because especially my executive coach, he's like, okay, don't talk about negative things, blah, blah, blah. Some of these like tips, right? And I'm like, can I go back and clean stuff up? That'd be a cool use case too. Like, dump the old me. I'm a better version.
Reputation management right there.
Yeah. But you can easily find that stuff you're looking for too. So that's a really good idea. Actually, just use that API to find. All right, because let's all face it, the search on Twitter sucks, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh, it's a nightmare.
Yeah,
you can't even find people you're following.
It's the worst when you try to tag people you're following, but you don't know their username. I can't say it.
And it's not their name. You have to know that they're like, I am Wix. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I don't actually know what it is. But
or Jason
if it's
is
not
Jason.
Your first name. Yes.
I'm with you. So you can make like a scraper to look at, let's say you plug in a username and I want to find my tweet that referenced this topic, and then it'll just scrape all your tweets and with that verbiage. That could be really useful too.
I agree. I mean, honestly, when you start thinking about this sales prospecting, like I've got a client and right now we're going into like this kind of prospecting. And I actually used AgentQL. So I'm going to WordCamp US in a couple weeks. And WordCamp US puts all their attendees on the website. I'm not doing it in a malicious way. I'm not going to spam people, but I'm doing it in a way where I went through and I scraped it all so that I could go through and curate it. And I actually have my own personal CRM in Common Room and HubSpot. So I wanted to take my list and do a compare and contrast. Who's going to be there that I know so I can make a list of people to make sure that I talk to. A, I'm self-employed, but B, my company has a major investment and like opportunity in WordPress. And so I'm like, great, let me represent my company and myself and take advantage of the travel, But I think same thing, thinking about sales prospecting, right? Like sales prospecting. How can who actually aligns? Don't give me the stupid data I can buy from the internet or whatever's out there, because clearly anyone can get that. But how can I be different and unique and actually grab valuable stuff to find the devs I need, to find the companies I need? Job recruiting. Now my brain's going crazy.
Well, this could even kind of help like data-driven decisions, whether it's UI, UX work, or like you said, improving your product in general, if you have a place to source all that information from.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, Nick.
Hey.
We are like so nerding out. Okay, maybe I'm the one that's so nerding out, but either way, nonetheless, I think we're all having a lot of fun with this product.
So I'm a little late. I was in a pairing session to get unblocked on something for a GitHub action I'm working on. So not to get too specific, but that was very specific.
Wow,
I think the people in this room respect your specifics.
Yeah, I do. I respect you, Nick.
Same.
I was just going to say that. I haven't touched actions, but gosh, I remember when I was like using Circle CI and in that like stage of life, establishing the like automation and deployment process. And I was just like, the smallest things can be like causing huge problems.
Yeah. No, one of our CLI tools was broken, and so just got unblocked with that. So anyways.
Hallelujah. That's a moment of celebration. Mm-hmm. Yay. Okay, so let's dive in. Nick, we'll catch you up. I think you'll probably notice as we go through this next example is e-commerce. So this is sort of the example they were leading with when I came in. New context, Nick. This is actually a past client of mine. I went and did a developer experience audit for them, wrote a rec deck. They launched last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. Number one product of the day, number one product of the week. And I truly believe that it is due to insights from like Chris, myself going through the whole process, but also they brought in someone from DevRel to do marketing who's different than me, right? Then they brought in someone to do kind of DevRel day to day and community who was also different from me. And we were in kind of our own sort of areas doing our expertise. And I think it just made for just this beautiful culmination of kind of bringing all that together. So long story short, super proud of them. Really am just proud of generally the opportunity to work with them. Their product is like fire, which we were just talking about before you joined. Use case, catch you up. Did you have a chance to peek at it? Otherwise,
I read the headline in the invite. That's about it.
Well, then you're like close enough. We just looked at how you could scrape YouTube comments to kind of get like all the comments out into a JSON. So we like
Oh, okay, yeah,
ideated on like pulling like, you know, creators or like streamers who put like raffles or contests or throw it in the comments kind of stuff. Or like, y'all, like, what about the support stuff, right? You're doing DevRel or you're doing some tech stuff and they're like, hey, someone says they need help. Let's scrape that out and send that into a support ticket. Like, I mean, truly tons you could do. So anyways, we were ideating on that. I started nerding out pretty hard. Chris, Ryan, Nathan, y'all want to jump in because I'm heavy talking. What do you think so far?
I mean, this is so what we saw the first time. This was not even here. We had to dig down into so many things even to figure out what this would be used for. So this whole model right here, whoever came up with this, wonderful, right? You have your the query on the left, which you know then can get you everything that you need and give you some JSON on the right. It's pretty cool. You know, and like we've already talked about a bunch of ideas we could use this for. I'm loving Ryan's idea. Ryan, I think you need to try and build it.
I think so, especially it'll give me a good experience with this. And actually, that's what I was going to say too. Just talking it out with you already, like helped me realize ideas for it. Right. At first, I was like, oh, you know, whatever, YouTube thing. But then, pointing out the other options, like this is where I think you're going to get the most value is just talking with others and seeing what you can get out of it. Unless you're just one of those people that has, you know, 10 million great ideas and you're going to execute each of them.
Yeah. Ooh, but that just means you're spread too thin.
That's true too.
Yeah.
But this could definitely alleviate or those pain points and give you time back, you know, if it actually is as easy as they make it seem.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's scraping is a difficult thing to do. Not the find it on the page, but I have a friend who worked in this industry, and something that you don't think about if you were like to say start building a scraper is you start scraping stuff and then you're going to get throttled because they're going to be like, who's this malicious person coming in? So like they literally had thousands of servers with IPs changing and like just so like you wouldn't get bounced. So like and if there's an AI aspect to this, that's even cooler because you can basically, I'm assuming, like just say find me all the prices and variants of the not variants, I forget what you call it in e-commerce. It starts with a V too, but anyways, yeah, I can see this being super powerful already without even having dug into it.
Well, let's dug on in.
I love it. Okay, last one. This one is the one that like old person me is very, very, very excited about. If I can like build like a Chrome extension, or I don't even know, can this integrate with like 1Password? And then that integration is like, boom, here's Tessa's information. You literally have like the gospel of data source in there, all securely protected, or maybe something else besides 1Password. And then like, boom, all my forms are just done. Like if I never have to touch forms again, that would complete my life.
So my thought with this is I'm curious how it will do it because 1Password already does a really good job of this. Yeah. Except when those forms are not hooked up and maybe don't accept autocomplete or this or that, right? And so that's dependent on the platform and developers behind that platform. So that's my only thought on will this make filling out forms any faster than 1Password? But if you don't use 1Password, then sure, this is a great solution, I think.
You know, that's a good call out. And I actually think now I'm kind of curious about how, coming back to sort of what Nick said, right? And like how the product is built, because I'm like, it does actually recognize it. So there's a Chrome extension, which we haven't gotten to yet as we get into the docs. Maybe I'll kind of escalate this now that we kind of got Nick caught up here. There's a Chrome extension that you install and you can run it right then and there. And so I wonder if there's like something that kind of comes into play. I just lost my brain thought. I had some hook I was going to with that and it just went gone. Chrome extension. I don't know what I was going to say. Bill, there's where it is. It actually was really good. I know what I was going to say now. Holy crap. Wow, it's Friday. Sorry, Nick, you could definitely jump in. But I was just going to say that you'd be able to actually go in and potentially recognize the correct things through that.
Yeah. I'll give some context to this because I used to work at McAfee on their password browser extension. So like pretty much like one password.
Yep.
And basically what happens is they identify the form, they save it. They don't save the form, but they go like, so like this name and email that's popping up right now, they have the URL or the domain of the website, and then you basically you call them selectors, and it's like it's literally like think like CSS or query selector all in the front end, and you're just literally storing them. And I don't know if they do it now still, but like probably AI would help with this. But before, they used to crowdsource people saying like, hey, it didn't find my username and password fields, these are what they are, and people would submit them. So like they literally save like what's the unique identifier to find them on the page, and that's pretty much how it works. Like it's probably more evolved now because of AI, but it would do the same thing, I imagine. And there's even more interesting things with forms, because like think of like a Google login where you first one is put your email in, the next page is the password. So we would have to store those things too, to say like, okay, this is the first part of the login flow and so on. So there's, again, like I was saying, the AI aspect of this probably just makes that go super fast.
Yeah. Well, we can go play with it and check it, because I'm pretty sure in the Chrome extension it recognizes things even with just a vague name. So even if you put like email or email address, like it'll still find it, like whatever it is that you put in there, at least my experience. But some of these queries do look really specific. So I'm like, is it their naming convention that's specific, or did they have to be specific because the naming convention on the data source is that specific? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had the same question actually, and they're saying use natural language to find it, so it looks like
That's what I'm saying.
write it in
Yeah.
AgentQL using whatever language you want. So I'm curious to see how accurate it is.
It's basically just like JSON querying, really. It's like, it's just okay, what do you want to call it? And then each of its like specific fields. So, okay, so where would y'all go next? Because I'm biased because this is a past client, so I've got way more knowledge. Where should we go next? And then we can kind of dive in.
I'd probably click on the get started. Like I would like, I mean, I know that sounds super obvious, but
Yep.
just like, what do
There
I
we
do
go.
with this thing?
Yep. Oh, Chris, they so nailed this. I have not looked at everything, but when you hit get started and it takes to the quick start. So Nick, for context, it was really difficult in the beginning for us to, great product, right? But they hadn't launched yet. So it was just their like V0 docs. And we were like, we can't figure out what we're supposed to do. We got a little lost and then couldn't ideate. And I was like, man, if we can fix that and make a quick start guide, this is beautiful. All right. I think it's beautiful, but what do y'all think? Let's just scroll through this. Guide me through your thoughts here.
I think there's some table stakes stuff in there, being able to copy examples, like not selecting it, like the buttons and stuff. Like all these things are like really like must haves, especially in developer tooling land.
Yep. I agree.
Do we need to install the Chrome extension first before we're doing any of these things?
I have it already, so I can through my screen sharing. But for you all, if you want to kind of follow along, it basically allows you to kind of do things without doing any code. So you can use AgentQL itself, like in the form of a Chrome extension.
Okay.
And you do need an API key,
you have the
so you'll
option
have to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I asked
Or you can.
because sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. I was just going to say you can roll it on your own. It's like a Python SDK, I think, that you can roll if you want to. Otherwise, you can use the Chrome extension.
Okay. Because
you're limited on data queries.
It looks like queries, but I wasn't clear on where we would put those queries at yet. So
yeah, I can. Yeah, I think that's well, it gets down here, right? So now they're like, hey, here's a query. Oh, this is so beautiful. In my heart, I'm just like so happy right now. Get their API key, right? And then it's like query this page with the debugger. So like I can open up developer tools because I already have it integrated, and you just go down to like AgentQL. Again, you wouldn't have seen this going through the docs, but this is essentially what's going to walk you through. Go to the web store, open the web store, put your API key. That's what you would have seen the first time. And then you can run a query. So if we wanted to like copy the query, you just put it over here. And then it's like, we could fetch elements, or it looks like we can fetch data.
Okay.
Are you
I have
sharing just the browser tab because we can't see your dev tools?
Oh, lame. I bet that's a security
Yeah,
measure.
probably.
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I bet that majorly is. Womp womp. Okay, that is definite feedback that I'm going to give gradual. Although that's good security measure, I just wonder if there'd maybe like an alternative um, view. Okay, so y'all, why don't you install the Chrome extension then maybe and just let me know what you think. It's a pretty quick process, and if you have any hiccups, it'd be actually cool to know about them.
I had one question to see if they got this right. Like I think most people do this nowadays, but when you go to your settings to generate or get an API key, it should be hidden by default. Like because like I've used products before where they're not like because like the assumption is you're just going to the page yourself.
Mm,
Nobody's gonna be seeing it. Um,
yep. Videos, is that what you're saying? Like Tessa, don't go expose your API key.
yeah, but I'm just curious in general if they hide it by default because that's a good practice. Like you can still
Oh,
copy it, but
good call out. Yeah, you should check and see what it looks like when you get in there if you create one.
yeah, I'm gonna
I'm
go
doing
ahead
it
and
right now, just signing
I was
in.
gonna say
Like,
I don't
see
want
that
to
they
open
have
it.
their authors by clerk, which is great. You can sign in with GitHub or your Google account right now. I'm surprised they don't offer anything else, like even just email, but
Yeah. Oh, you mean like because you have to sign up through GitHub? The
GitHub or
forced auth?
Gmail, yeah, or Google, yeah.
Mm, got it. Got it. Yeah.
that could be a launch thing. It's just easier with social logins.
I agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I got my
It's valid.
API key, which, like Nick said, it wasn't hidden by default. So, like when you hit generate, it is not, and even in my personal table in my dashboard, is not hidden.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cool. Okay, so great. I will share that feedback with them. Because then, yeah, if someone does want to do something like what I was doing, if I would have just like clicked in get API key and still been logged in, that would have been an exposed, obviously, piece
Right.
of
yeah.
content. Cool, cool. Okay, good feedback and best practice. Actually, majorly appreciate you calling that out, Nick. Some of that stuff, you think about, right? But like you don't always truly think about it in all the raw details. Does anyone have the Chrome extension installed? Giving it a try.
Yep.
Sad I
Just
can't
Yeah,
got
I'm
it
switch.
in my console
installed.
right now.
What do you think?
Okay. This is cool. I didn't expect it to be like in the developer tools like this.
Mm-hmm. I
Let's
liked
see.
it too.
Fetching the web element. I mean, right now, just doing the quick start, it works well. It gives me exactly what I'm looking for. It's easy.
I want to give them a +1 too. I installed the Chrome extension, and already as soon as it opens, here is how to open Agents QL debugger and everything. Like there's no like what's going on. It's I mean, obviously you could skip the video, but that's good that they're doing that.
I also like that
Yeah.
they have the in the Chrome extension they have the page tree, so that way if I don't know what I'm looking for or if I need to know what to actually query, it gives you the tree of items to go and query. So that's kind of really nice.
Yes. Yeah, I see what you're talking about. That's nice.
And then when you highlight each one in the tree, it highlights that section of the page, so you can make sure you're going to be querying what you actually want. That's kind of cool.
That almost looks like I mean, it's not the same, but it looks very similar to the accessibility tree that's built into Chrome DevTools.
Yeah,
Sure, the
yeah,
layout.
Yeah.
yeah. But I really like that a lot. That's really nice.
Okay, so since the screen share can't see the Chrome extension, I'm going to skip us ahead and take us to the playground because then people who are watching the video or who want to absorb this can kind of get the same, we're all on the same page kind of thing. This is the thing that like just I was so excited about because like we had shared, we couldn't really figure out what should we do, how should we do it. And I think this just answered all of it, right? If someone was like just curious, which everything is amazing, honestly, thus far, I have a very good idea of what I can do. But boom, it shows me. So there's two examples. One's Y Combinator and one's just one Scrape Me. And the Y Combinator one is looking for jobs. And so we kind of actually touched on that one when we were talking about use cases. I think recruiting came up as something I was thinking about. Trying to find like very specifically talented people. But in this case, they're like pulling up job listings, which how helpful would that be for the people who are looking for work right now to be able to like punch in like 30 websites and you're like, if it has any of these keywords of the languages, the tools, the whatever that I'm passionate about, give me those jobs. Like that'd be slick, honestly.
Sorry, I'm not. I'm literally like playing around with this, seeing what it's going to return.
I know, dude, because it's so cool.
Yeah, it's very cool to be able to just grab this without a problem. And even right here, they're like the query can return each heading on the page just by using square brackets for like an array.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. Loving it.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to hit fetch data actually. So I don't know. I think is the screen share showing? Yeah, no, it's fetching.
Okay. I noticed I thought it was broken. So I did header like Ryan I think Ryan was talking.
hmm
But I put in article because that's like an HTML element. And
Mm-hmm.
okay, it's working now. I got initially when I put it in, oh, I think I know what happened. I just typed, is that what I did? Okay, yeah. So I forgot to put it in curly brackets. I just typed in article, and the API gave like a HTTP status code 422 because it's doesn't like that. But I wonder if there could be some human readable errors too, because
Yep. I was just
like
gonna say that.
as a dev, I'm gonna be like, okay, HTTP 422, okay,
That doesn't help you. Yeah.
if you don't know what it is, you can still look it up. But like, I'm thinking somebody who's in marketing or whoever's in charge of this, they would have no idea what that means.
Yeah.
That's valid.
Yeah. Yeah. That's actually really good. Love that feedback. That's great. Well, brought all my data down, which I mean, I really just want to spend the rest of my afternoon. I have like 3 hours of client work, but now I'm like, I just want to spend the rest of my afternoon playing with AgentQL. Because like, I cannot even imagine the stuff I can start to like bring in probably for my client work I have to get done.
This could
Yeah,
also
I
be
think that's the best
interesting.
example. Go ahead, Nick. I'm sorry.
No, I interrupted you. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think the best sort of like result they can get is like, I'm just sitting here. I want to go play with it and see what data I can get and how to get it, so that way I can learn how to actually put this into projects.
Yeah.
I just talked to a new client lead. I'm not going to like say anything because, they're just a lead and I don't want to. They might not want people to know I'm talking to them. You never know. Anyways, they've got like a robust API sort of like library, if that makes sense. And it can do a lot of different like various data reformation. And I'm like, man, you could take this and integrate it with this other tool that does that and turn the JSON into like an Excel sheet, which could turn into like a HubSpot integration or a common room integration. So you've got your like prospecting, and my brain is just like, how can I do all the things without touching them? The first example that I gave to this client with AgentQL was that's gonna be super nerdy, but you all know my farm nerdiness, so whoever's listening is gonna be like, Tessa's weird. What the heck is she doing? Okay, so I have cows, right? And like I have very specific cows that are like high quality, show like high breed, good, just like the quality cows of this specific breed. And so I created a chat bot that I trained on this cow breed, like genetics and like bull semen and other things to decide which bulls were going to be, there we go, which bulls were going to be the best bulls to breed with my specific cows based on a genetic comparison. And so I'm talking to this client for the first time, and I like completely unveil my nerdiness because I told them that I created this bot, and I said, but my problem is I can't collect all of the genetics and all of the pedigrees because they are behind a login wall, but it's like locked with like a searching kind of archive sort of layer, so I can't get it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wonder if I could use AgentQL. And so total like nerded out about bull semen literally with this client. Now I need to go to qualitycows.com.
Yeah, now you need,
I was gonna say
qualitycows.com.
That's why I put it. Yeah.
I mean, that's not really.
Oh, I'll have to buy it. Maybe I can.
That's
it is a site.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Oh, are they for sale? Is this from a different? So in the beginning, I think this website might be like one of those like, I don't know, like hacked websites where they're trying to just like make money from it or something. Because in the beginning, it was like it was language I did not understand. And now all of a sudden it's like an actual cow website. I'm like, It was like created with AI on the fly, is what it felt like, basically.
That'd be
Interesting.
wildly impressive.
Yeah, I mean, that's like what the vibe it gave me. But you're not wrong. I mean, that's the thing. And I was like talking to my husband about it because he actually does cattle AI, which is this hilarious thing because like artificial insemination, I'm in like the artificial intelligence and that side. And so it's entertaining. But anyways, like we're growing his business, right? And I'm like, who could I sell this bot to? And like we told a semen rep, like a sales rep, and he's like, you did what? What? Tell me about this. And so I'm like, maybe there is a fruitful business in agriculture.
Well, that was my thought. Like, I mean, you can even take that to dog breeders and so any, take that same structure and apply it that way, and that could be pretty useful for people, I'm sure.
It's just like one little thing that like we can do, right? With like now all these AI tools, it's just I can't wait to see what the world looks like, hopefully positively, where like we're starting to no longer feel like we don't have knowledge in places that feel complicated. Like no one wants to get into farming because all the knowledge is in like some old farmer's brain and he doesn't know how to write blog posts, so we're not getting that data. How do people become farmers?
Yeah. No, it's that, and even like this information of how I'm going to go about getting this information, this tool allows me to go do something that I normally wouldn't even think about doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I think a lot of our shortcuts. Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think one thing that would be cool about this tool is offer some suggestions at the beginning. Since it's using AI, it could scrape the page you're on and it could just say like, here's a suggested query. And I think it would have some wow factor because right away it would show the capabilities because it was able to actually, do it live on the page without the person. And then, I don't know, I think there'd be a big wow factor there and helpful for the persons.
Yeah, I agree. Like in the Chrome extension, you think? Or you mean like actually in the I like that.
Yeah, like just in the query pane because it has like some placeholder text, but there's or
Yep. That's a good idea. Okay, duly noted. You're full of good ideas. I mean, you all are, honestly.
Got my product hat on today.
I love that. Okay, so I clicked back in the docs only because I felt like I nerded out about cows and other ideas for far too long. Is there anything else we're sort of like curious on? I mean, I feel like the Chrome extension is pretty solid. I did get some limits on the Chrome extension when I was doing the WordCamp US attendee scraping. So I do actually need to fully install it, I think, to try to get all the data to actually complete my little prospect list. Anyways, anything else we want to dive into specifically before we...
In your guys' messing around with this, have you found a way to filter it as it's gathering in the information, or is it just good at figuring out the key value pairs that you kind of query with?
I haven't installed the actual like Python SDK to truly like go dig around and actually like build out something. So I've only used the Chrome extension. So I think really it's just JSON data. So I haven't gotten any more complex than just kind of like, oh, what can I pull from attendees or this list or whatever. So no, I haven't yet. They have some examples in here.
There. I'm curious though how granular you can get with just the extension and how specific can it actually detect things.
Right. Hey, you know what? DevRel tip under data scraping. It says collect social media metrics. That's easy to do on your own account. That's like impossible to do on like an ambassador's account. If you have like an advocate that's like a power user on your team that's actually going out and like, advocating for your company, you can't actually like track the engagement of like those types of people in your programs unless you went out and just scrape your profile. Like you said, Chris, right? You actually brought that up of like, you wanted to bring your metrics into your own website, but then from the other side, how can we actually go out and scrape metrics of someone who we might be engaging with?
I've got another killer feature.
Oh yeah, let's hear it. This is great.
Because I used to work on a tool kind of like this pre-AI, but like basically mapping a web page to data that you would use, but like you could have like placeholder data. But I'm not saying put placeholder data. What I'm saying is you should be able to go on the page and select something and it'll generate the query for you.
Ooh, because it can just run through the
Like you don't have to worry about anything. You just say like, okay, like blog post, for example, you click on it and maybe it could figure out like, okay, they want the whole thing, not just the header, or maybe do, or like, some kind of interactivity there, because that would remove the whole burden of being more technical, like still be able to write the queries, but like somebody might just be, I just want to go boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and that also, I think, to kind of build off of that, you also could have like a query writer, right? Like if it really was sort of writing the queries like as you go, and as you kind of navigate through. Welcome. Excited you're able to join us.
Oh, hey, Ian, how you doing, man?
We're nerding out on AgentQL.
I love this thing.
Sorry, everybody. I was mentoring session went long.
That's a good thing, though. I feel like any form, whether it's like you mentoring or receiving, either way, that's usually good.
Can you on stream? I'm sorry. Go to if you're done, go to the examples page, because that right there is a killer thing that maybe they should show off more now on the homepage. I mean,
yeah.
So like, there's just in cookie dialog. I just want to install that on my machine for everything, or
run
maybe
that all the time.
Exactly. Present this more like, hey, check more examples of what you can do with this, because I didn't even think of doing that with this. Again, I'm just introduced to it and messing around with it, but still.
No, I agree. I think like there's a level with the playground, right, that gives you tons and tons of freedom. And of course, obviously, they're just rolling out what they can launch at launch because they just launched. So they'll probably start to do more stuff as they hear feedback. But I agree. And it's kind of like one of those things of like, can they build like, I don't know, could someone build like just a Chrome extension that like integrates or like has additional features that just sort of plays off of it that does these examples? Because if you could sit here and do this inside and just kind of mess around with it, I think that would be cool.
What about a natural language model that input your actual, like I could say, hey, I want you to select every paragraph on this page with the word SDK on it, and it build that query for you. Is that part of this? I thought I saw natural language on the homepage, but
I don't know, actually.
I think the natural language was just if you're building the query itself. Some I thought it was just, have something build that for you using your text or voice prompt.
Yeah.
And then it would just build it for you. Not that this is crazy difficult, but again, for someone that maybe doesn't know what they're exactly looking for,
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, that plays off of like what Nick said, right? Can there be something that tells you what you can do with it? Because if there is, AI integrated into that, can it recognize sort of what type of a site are you on? Are you on a job listing site? Are you on YouTube? Hey, did you know you could scrape these comments? Or you know what I wanted to do the other day? I actually wanted to scrape a transcript because something that this was totally another AI hack also. I should probably start a podcast of all my nerdy AI hacks. Is that I was doing it so I could train this little mini chat bot that I made. I like make these little mini chat bots and I train them on all these different types of things that's like for my clients. Like same thing with my cow semen example, which Ian, you're going to laugh because like you missed the whole context. But anyways, when you think about like that kind of stuff, yeah, then, you can bring it like in that way. Oh, my brain is just so tired, y'all. I can tell it's Friday. I lose my train of thought so easily. But yes, predicting it, I think, could help you more because then you could see it. And like you said, I think there's an opportunity likely to build sort of like a non-technical layer over top of this where it could be used by marketing, salespeople, et cetera, which I think the value there is actually on the HubSpot, Salesforce, sales CRM side to just integrate with AgentQL. And then they actually write all the scraping because that's not necessarily something AgentQL needs to get there and then have partnerships.
Ryan, imagine using this in our end-to-end test for Gridiron.
Well, that too. Testing. Oh, now I can have clients working with other clients because I have a super fun client right now that is doing stuff like that.
Yeah, they have the example right in front of us. It says import Playwright and then use their own locators.
Oh,
they
yes.
yeah. So that's why I stuck up on it. That's why I noticed that. I was like, it's an easier way to locate specific elements on the page, not
Yep.
necessarily having to do test IDs and stuff like that.
Have any of you all had to use like Bhat? Didn't have like the new testing tools like Playwright. See, okay, I'm like old school dev. Man, I feel so old right now. So before Playwright was even a thing, you had to like custom code your testing, and there was not like all these nice, amazing resources like these beautiful dev tools have evolved. I think it's open source if I remember right, but long story short, yeah, absolutely. Because in Bhat, you had to like literally write out full language on how you wanted to test something, where now we've got all these shortcuts.
Yeah, I mean, it is surprising me that they use Playwright, because Playwright also just has the code gen extension that basically writes it for you based on how you interact with the page. But either way, it's got value for unit testing and Playwright testing, right?
Mm-hmm. I was trying to see if we could have any like further answers more specifically on the like the AI side of it, like exactly what can, like where do we just integrate this, and what is the actual like native intelligence behind it? Like we were talking about, what could it do and what can it recognize? Like, does it have that inside of it? Is it more about the use case that they're using in the messaging by saying like it's an AI powered agent, right? Obviously the Chrome extension and whatever you're building is an AI powered agent. It's going and getting the things it needs, but can it do what Nick said, where it can predict to you what you could be building based on what it's finding in that page? The answer is no. What do you guys think?
I mean, I do wish there was more even reference to the AI behind it,
Yeah.
because it doesn't really tell us its capabilities. It's kind of, we have to figure it out, which is fine.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely us on this like really beautiful curiosity and ideation train that we're on. But I mean, if we get on this, I mean, eventually, if we were by ourselves, we'd probably end up on the train. It just wouldn't be as fueled because we have other people helping us. But we'd probably still be on that path of like trying to understand that. That's why I went to Under the Hood, so you can kind of peek at that. Sorry if y'all can hear my toddler. He can open doors now. So he's locked out of my room.
I've heard this a couple times.
My oldest just started driving, so enjoy the toddler years while you can. It goes by in a blink.
Oh my gosh, Ian, my oldest is going to be driving in 3 months also. So I have the full spread, which don't even get me started on that conversation. But yeah, it's sad day around our house.
Sad for you, exciting for your oldest, probably.
That's true. He's like our farm chore kid, though. So he's been driving the truck for like years.
Yeah.
He knows what he's up to.
So I just, made a query, fetched the data, looking on their examples page. I said, hey, go in the list items and give me the link. Go into the link for each list item, give me the image source and the URL associated with that list item. And I did it in a few seconds. That's sick. And then it looks like can we download and export this? Yeah, we can download the JSON straight from it.
Yeah, the JSON, you get it right off the...
Yeah.
Oh man, I just saw your Nick, your message now about Selenium. Yeah, similar sentiment as Bhat. Brutal.
Getting back to selecting stuff on the page to generate the query, I mean, they have that page tree view. I mean, like even that, like you could just right click, add to query, or like it looks more like the accessibility tree, like somebody said. But I think definitely clicking on that. But like also just clicking on the page, like I was saying before, to select stuff. The one thing that could be, what was it gonna say? Yeah, something I've heard about AI tools is, or if you have AI in your product, is have AI in your product, but don't talk about having AI in your product. Talk about the product. Like like obviously like from a developer standpoint, people might want hooks to know about the AI, but like, you know what I mean? Like, because like the AI is just an enabler to do what you want, you know, like just calling it web scraping. That's what you're trying to do, or gathering data. It's like, I know it's everybody's like on the hype train. As soon as you say AI or register.ai domain, it's like you've got 5 million in funding automatically just from registering the domain. But like, but it, you know, it's like, it's an implementation detail. I do get the hype though about people putting it in, mentioning it, but just thought I'd call
Yep.
that out.
I think.
I actually
I mean,
really like that.
go ahead before I continue.
I know you go.
I'm just curious about, and maybe this is a little. I just feel like if there's AI being used somewhere, I feel like you can you owe it to your users to be a little transparent with how it's being used.
Yeah.
I like, and this is a gray area kind of, I don't know about the morality of AI, and that's a whole other topic. But like, I don't know. I just kind of like to know that information. Is that just me?
Oh yeah. I don't mean don't tell them. What I mean is like in the marketing, like when you go and like read
Yes.
stuff, it'll say like we scrape the data using AI, blah blah blah. But don't make it like the focus point in the marketing. Is all I meant.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I could see that.
That actually made me want to like go back to the messaging too, to kind of use how they were, or view how they were using it, right? Which I think it
Yep.
makes sense, but I would say if we had to actually really truly sort of like boil this down, I don't know that that part is necessary in explaining what the use case is to say that it's AI powered. But I think that, like you said, it is definitely an industry term that is likely being searched when people are looking for tools. So I guess you got to kind of give them credit on one hand for tapping those SEO keywords, but then also like doing it tastefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's valid. Well, we just have a couple of minutes left. Anything we want to like dive into? Ian, I know you joined at the end, so you didn't kind of get all of it, but we really just start from the homepage and dive in and see where the homepage takes us. And I spent a lot of time talking about random ideas I had about what I could build with this because I'm so jacked up about this tool. Do you want to jump in and share anything as what you've consumed or heard thus far?
No, other than so one DX experience that I helped build at Stream back in the day, because there's two big white buttons on here that says go get an API key. One thing that we did at Stream was we would encourage a login. And then if it was their first time logging in, we immediately put them in an onboarding of, hey, just these first 6 screens are like how to use the product. And here's some JavaScript code. You literally just click a run button and you would see some content populate a news feed. And once they got through the onboarding, we're like, by the way, here's your API key. We already built all these news feeds for you. And all the stuff that you did in the JavaScript has actually populated those news feeds. And then we would show them like the typical code block where they could pick the language from a tab across the top. And they're like, here's some code to get you started. And they could literally drop that in their project and they had a news feed already up and running. And so we saw something stupid like a 500% increase in API usage by launching that, because we were immediately like, not just, hey, if you want an API key, here's how to do it. If you want the documentation, here's where to find it. We were literally like building it for them as part of the onboarding and then saying, okay, that's already up and running. You've already got that whole structure ready to go. Here's how to like just add this in your project and you're good to go.
That's incredible. That's amazing feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I mean, that really is.
It took some time to build. I'll be honest. It took some time to build, but like once it was there and ready to go, like just the self-serve notion of it, and we would see people hang out on one page without like going through all 6 of the pages, and they would literally just add content like, oh, I'm gonna write some goofy nonsense, whatever, and it would just start populating that feed. They're like, oh, it's all showing up. Like, oh, that's kind of neat. But they would, in their mind, we were kind of making them feel like this was just a sandbox kind of environment that they could just kind of tinker with. But at the end of it, it's like, no, this is your content. Like everything, like all those dick jokes you just put in there, that's like that's actually sitting in your feed now. And you can like, we obviously had API calls to go in and clean the stuff out, but like they could also like destroy the feed and rebuild the feed. And like, it was good to go and it was ready to use immediately. It took us probably 2 months to build. but like huge increase in people signing up and like actually using the API once they signed up.
That is incredible. I feel like, so in my like little, how I'm trying to serve clients anyways, like in the beginning, the first one tends to be like launch, right? They're going to market for the first time. And then there's like this next package that's like scaling. They're taking it from launch, which like obviously AgentQL would be sort of moving towards that next thing if you're thinking about it, right? They've hit the market. They've found this first use case. Are they getting adoption? Obviously trying to work through a couple more use cases, but I feel like that'd be like a very, very nice additive for developer adoption. Because honestly, like when I got laid off back in February, I had tons of conversations with DevRel people, and the most frequent pain point was developer adoption. Sure, they can get someone to try a product, play with it, sign up for it like we did today, right? But then not come back again and actually have a reason to use it. And when you do that, that like removes all of that, right? Because it's already ready to go, or at least they have sort of something ready to go. They can quickly integrate. Now, boom, they put it on their website or something. It's like they've made it official. They've got to maintain it, and eventually they'll start coming back, you know?
Yeah, you need that sticky product, right? More than one use and keep coming back, right? Like you said. I can't wait to mess around with this.
I know, me too. And I just want to do it right now. 2 more hours, 2 to 3 more hours, and then I can.
I think one thing that's nice is after we went through this, Tessa, it's hearing Ryan go through it, play with the playground, go through it, and then go, this is cool. I mean, that speaks volumes compared to the first time we've done it. And side note, I'm already playing with the tool in my Twitter account, and I found the area to query for my text for number of posts. So if I can get this working, I might generate a little open source NPM package.
Ooh, can you tweet about it and tag
I will.
them?
If I do it, I will for sure tag them. Let me just
Love
see
it.
if I can get it working first. But
yeah,
it's
no,
pretty cool.
Totally. No, I agree. I think that's like, the rest of you, I have a video actually. I might ask them if they're okay with me releasing the video, because I think it would be a great case study to see the before and after, because I went through and I did an audit and I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit away from my tech chops. So is this truly me, or am I not technically capable enough to understand it? So Chris, lovely friend Chris, came in and he's like, nope, I feel the same way, which A, helped my imposter syndrome, and B, really did help kind of work through and be like, okay, no, truly, we're both lost. What are we supposed to do next? Why did we install that? And it just felt disconnected. And so the playground and the way that the quick start guide is, it's fire. It's like night and day difference. And I think Ian, like with what you just shared, gosh, like the feedback that from you, Nick, Ryan, I mean, all of you had amazing feedback. If they took to heart a lot of these things that are actually really, truly in this recording, they're going to be unstoppable.
Nice. Yeah, this is going to be fun. Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing us off.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy too, because like I said, I nerded out on the product too. I can't wait to bring my new client on here. I don't think next week, but I'm thinking the week after. And it's going to blow your mind. It is literally a tool that every developer has ever wanted when they were like, it used to work and it doesn't work now. It worked on my machine, but it doesn't work on your machine. And it is a game changer. So I will digress there. It's great hanging out with you, friends. I've had a great week, if you can't tell my crazy energy, and I'm so thankful to hang out with you all.
Go and have a cow. All right, go and have a cow.
Yeah, right.
Every time I talk to you, you've had a cow. Yep.
Yep, I know. Actually, you know what? I went to NamesCon and they were selling a cow-related domain, and I just kind of giggled because I was like, "Oh, that's funny. I have cows," but it went high, and I didn't bid on it. But hey, look, I could have had this whole product.
There you go.
Maybe 2cows is available. 2cows.com. It used to be for Windows software.
Oh man, I remember that way back in the day. Is that still around?
Yeah. Wasn't it domain registry too? Like TU cows? Yeah, it was like a whole I think that's kind of a bunch of stuff.
It's like the ultimate Windows software.
We're still around since 1993.
Oh my gosh, I'm
based in Toronto.
Sorry, going old school throwback here.
Oh, so they are domain stuff too.
2 years old.
They must have done a bunch of stuff. 2 years old.
I was 9 years old.
I was like, I'm going to be 40 soon, so we'll just leave it there. And on that note, let's end the call. Tessa's old. Bye, friends.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.